And I'm so upset. I wish I had never even started with them. I wish I never gave them my business or any of my money. All right, so this is gonna be my Dress Chronicles part 2. So the first video that I showed you guys was after I went to go try on my dress, after I said yes to the dress and I ordered it in a different color and all of that. So if you haven't seen that video, that kind of gives you an idea of what I went through with my sizing of the dress, my health in general. I actually dropped a lot of dress sizes. So if you want details on that, go watch that one. This is gonna be the second part where they actually played me. Like, that's how, honestly, that's the best way for me to put it. I feel played. I feel completely played, and I'm extremely unhappy. I feel like they took advantage of me, and I feel pretty naive for trusting a business. Like, I should have known to have more things written on paper, more proof of stuff like that. Here's what happened. When I got engaged and was posting stuff about being engaged, I had different people that work in the wedding business reach out to me. Things like florists, event coordinators, locations, stuff like that, that start DMing me saying, come check us out if you need our services, whatever. So I had this bridal boutique reach out to me saying, hey, we see that you're engaged. Why don't you pass by? We're a small family-owned boutique, you know, whatever, like a nice message, like, can we make an appointment for you? And I was like, you know what, sure, why not? I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm gonna find my dream dress. But I had a few places that a lot of people had recommended, and I'm gonna go to all those places, and nobody has recommended this place. But honestly, this might be the reason that no one recommended them. Whew. I don't think I can tell this story without being like biased, because I'm so hurt and I'm so upset. I wish I had never even started with them. I wish I never gave them my business or any of my money. Okay, so basically I got into the store and they kind of sold me the dream. They told me that, you know, there's different dresses that you can either rent or buy. There was a few dresses that I was interested in, specifically 2, and they quoted me the difference between renting and buying them. I told them I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to afford buying it, but since I have my destination wedding and I have the party later, I was like, I mean, I could go either way. I could rent it just for the wedding, or I can buy it so that I can have it for both the wedding and the after party. That being said, the first time I went in, I had them write down the quote of, just on a post-it note on their business card. She wrote the name of the dress, how much it is to rent, and then how much it is to buy for 2 different dresses. When I went back and said yes to the dress, she actually lowered the quote for renting it. And I was thinking, still telling them I'm not sure. And what they had told me was, okay, here's the thing, like, you know, if you change your mind and you want to buy it, then you could just pay the difference, right? So they had told me so many different things on how they're willing to work with me, and, you know, if it's the price, let us know. And that's originally why she had kind of lowered a little bit for renting the dress. But they really made me believe that they were willing to help me and that everything was gonna work out okay. I say yes to the dress. They have to order it, and because the color that they had it in was champagne, and I wanted it in white. They could order it in white, and I guess that because I hadn't made a decision, they ordered it with intentions of me renting it. So I'm not sure if that's the way that they had it written in the contract, but I guess that's what they explained to me later. So I didn't know that. That's just how it was done. And they told me, don't worry, you can change your mind, right? So here's what happened. I'm coming in for, you know, the final, oh, I don't think you can see me. Hold on. Peekaboo, there I am. I come in for like the, you know, final fitting. Now that I have the actual dress and it's the white one and it's the one that I'm gonna be wearing at my wedding, I try to see what size I am and what alterations that they're gonna have to do before I come pick it up for my wedding. Mind you, it's over a week late that my dress arrives, so I was already freaking out. and this is like a week and a half before I leave, right? The girl who originally quoted me is not there, and apparently she is slowly like stepping down. My cousin went into that boutique and got her dress. She got it custom made. She had all these things done. It doesn't seem like she really had a problem. It actually seems like they helped her a lot. And it turns out the girl who quoted me started working at the venue where my cousin got married. So she was like assisting the coordinator for the wedding. So she was at her wedding where I was a bridesmaid. She was telling me, oh, you're getting married next, all this stuff. And so I was like, yeah, you know, like thinking if my dress ever gets there. So she's not there when my final dress comes in and I'm trying to get everything for alterations. Apparently the store owner is there. I really don't know if I'm gonna say the name. I really want to, but I don't know. There's this young girl who was helping me put on my dress and everything. She was super kind. And then this other girl comes out from the back asking her, like, you know, what are you doing? What can I help you with? And she's like, oh, I'm like doing her contract for her, and I'm putting what quote she got, and we're trying to figure out what the quote is. I didn't have it memorized. I just remember that the other woman had written it down on a piece of paper for me. So I told her, I was like, I don't remember, don't you guys have that information? And then the store owner was like, well, this is the price of the dress. Why are we gonna change that? And she's like, oh, because she was quoted differently. And she was like, okay, well, we don't have that information, so we have to put down the quote of the dress. And I go, I know for a fact that it was not that much money, you know, like the amount that you're saying. And just her mannerisms, like the way that she was talking to me, you know, I understand like a resting mean face, because I could have that. Like my face naturally is not really the kindest, you know, but I also know how to talk to people. And I feel like as a store owner who is working a bridal boutique, who is making wedding dresses for people on their wedding day, the most important day of their lives, where they're gonna feel like a queen, they're gonna feel the most beautiful they've ever felt in their life. If you don't know how to address people with kindness and understanding, then maybe you should just stay working behind the scenes. Maybe you shouldn't be doing customer service if that's not your thing. But it was just the way that she was talking that was very no like remorse. And it seemed like it was almost in like a mocking way, where she was like, okay, well, if you find that piece of paper, I'd be happy to honor the quote that we gave you. But since we don't have that information, I can't honor that quote. And I said, okay, I know that I have that quote. Like I have the, you know, little piece of paper. So I'm gonna find it and send you. She was like, okay, yeah, by all means, send it over. And she was like, we're gonna write down the price of the dress because this is what it is right now. And I was like, okay. And I feel like that might have been stupid of me, I guess, you know, that could have been the mistake that I made. But I'm thinking, you're literally in front of the other girl who works at the store. And when I got the other quote, I was in front of all my other girls that came with me to say yes to the dress. So everybody heard what the quotes were. They know, you know what I mean? Like there's too many witnesses. And it's literally written in their hand on their business card. When I see that there's literally people hearing you say something to hold you accountable, and this is your business, I don't know if it's like stupid of me, but I'm expecting you to hold your word. This is like terrible lighting, but whatever. I get home. This is on that was on Saturday, and whatever. I go on Sunday, I find the little card with the, you know, quote on it and everything. And then on Monday, I'm working in the office. I text the girl who originally quoted me. I told her, hey, I don't know if they told you what happened, but when I came in, this is what they told me, that they weren't able to hold the quote that you gave me because they didn't have it written down. They didn't have it on anything, and they didn't have any proof of it pretty much. So here's the proof. This is your handwriting on your card with your name on it. Just wanted to see if there's something that you can help with, because I have been working with you and I don't know who this other woman is. So if you can give me a call. She texts me saying that she's available to talk. I call her and she was like, okay, so I'm going to speak to her and we're going to try to see what we can do. I also needed to schedule when I was going to come in to pick up the dress with the final alterations and everything. And in that moment is when I pay in full. I don't hear back for a few hours, and then I was like, you know what, let me just call the store to make my appointment. I call the store and I say, I spoke to the original girl. She said she was going to talk to you guys and see what we were going to figure out. And she goes, oh, okay, well, the store owner is here, the girl who's not so nice, that said, if you find the paper, we're going to honor the quote that we gave you. So I was like, all right, sure, put her on the phone. And I tell her, hey, I spoke to this girl, this is everything that happened. She said we're going to try to figure out, you know, something for you, and we're going to see what we can do. That's what they said, right? And she just very simply was like, oh yeah, so apparently our accountant is not letting us hold true to that quote because we had ordered your dress as a rental, so we could only hold the quote that we gave you for the rental. And I was like, all right, so what if I wanted to buy it, you know? And on top of that, she said they're also, I guess they ordered it from Europe or something. This is what they're telling me. And they're sending them 2022 prices or something like that. So she's telling me basically with the quotes of the next year, the dresses are more expensive. And I'm wondering, okay, so when did this happen? Like, why wasn't I made aware? The store owner tells me that those prices became or raised, or the 22 prices started on November. I didn't say yes to my dress in November. So I tell her that I ordered it, you know, a few months ago. And so that's where I guess they do have that leverage over me, that they're able to say, oh, but we ordered it for you as a rental. We didn't order it as you're buying it. So that's the only quote that we're able to keep. And I was like, all right, so now you're telling me like I can't buy this dress because the original quote that you gave me, that's what I was trying to save up for. And I mean, I still didn't have the money, to be completely honest, but I was hoping to continue saving for it. And I was like, all right, so you know what, like, forget it. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. I hang up with her. I was like, whatever. Like, I didn't want to deal with her. I called the original girl that I spoke to, and she was at the same store, and I don't care because she's the original girl that I spoke to. She's the one who quoted me. She's the one who should be able to do that. And I'm sorry, but as a co-owner or business partner or whatever, if this is your store, then you're showing how you're doing business with people. If you misquoted someone, that's a hit that you should take as a business, as your personal fault in that. But to go and not tell people that the price is raising when she knew that I had interest from the beginning for buying it, for not really telling me, well, you're actually not going to be able to want to rent it and then change your mind and buy it. You have to make a final decision. All those different changes without updating me on anything and then telling me when it is 2 weeks before my wedding is such, oh my God, there's so many colorful words that I could use and I'm not going to put them on here, but it is so tacky. It is such a terrible way to do business. You should not have your own store. You should not have your own business if you don't know how to run it well. If I spoke with the store owner and I didn't want anything to do with her and kept calling back the person who originally quoted me, that goes to show how bad you're doing with your business. If I had met the store owner the first time I was there, I would not have done anything with her. I don't like the way she was addressing me. She wasn't doing any of that, trying to make me feel special, trying to make me feel like she's willing to help, or just understanding that this is my big day. It was like she didn't care about any of that. And I get it. For her, it's probably a business, but you're in the business of helping people with their big day. There is like some emotional connection there. You know, you're helping them. You're being a part of something so important and intimate and special to them. You know, it's not like you're just helping them buy a shirt for an interview. But even that, you know, I'm sure that somebody who's trying to make a sale in a clothing store or whatever is probably going to make the person feel special and understood and beautiful and all those things. So how did you even start your own business when you can't even talk to people like that? I don't know. Personally, somebody who has worked with customer service a lot, and I know the things that you can and cannot say and how you should and shouldn't talk to people. That's one of the things that really bothers me. Seeing people that are doing customer service or are face to face with the consumer and they don't know how to speak to them. And again, personally, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, if it were me and I told somebody a price and then that price went up and they could hardly even afford it to begin with, I would feel so bad that I would want to do anything I could to help them. And if that means that I had to take a hit and pay the difference myself as a company, that's what I would do. And that's what multiple other companies would do. So in that case, it's like, you're better off at David's Bridal or some big commercial bridal shop like that. Unfortunately, from what I know, I can't do anything legally because, like I said, they had on their side as if I was only renting it, even though I had never made that decision. It was such a roller coaster of emotions because I was then like heartbroken because I had originally really wanted to buy it. I was just trying to be realistic and telling myself, I don't know if I'll be able to. So I might just have to rent it. That might be what happens, you know? They tell me that and I was like, look, I can't afford it. Okay, so I guess you're telling me that I can't buy it. And they're like, you can rent it again for your party. So that's gonna be double the amount of this dress that is a higher quote than you told me. You know what I mean? When it could have just been a few $100s instead of doubling the amount again. Whatever. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. But after getting off the phone with them, I was just so regretful. I resented them. It was like almost unfortunate that this is where I found my dress. You know, I didn't want to do business with them again. And with the type of person that I am, respect means a lot. So I lost all respect for them with that conversation. So when they were like promising me all these things and, oh, don't worry, we'll be able to figure stuff out and all that. One of the things that really got to me was the girl who originally quoted me at the end of the call was like, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, my hands are tied. Like, unfortunately, we can't do anything about it. Like, our accountant won't let us go with the lower quote. Like, we won't be able to do it. But I'm sure you'll figure something out. Like, I'm sure it's all gonna work out. I have a feeling. And I literally, in that moment, I was just in such shock and disbelief and trying to like process that I'm not going to be able to buy this dress, that I was like, what do you mean? Honestly, like, what does that even mean? I don't have the money, so I can't buy it. That's the facts, you know? It's not, I'm not going to have that amount of money by the time I have to go pick it up and pay it in full. So it's just not happening. She was like, yeah, well, I don't know. I think that you'll be able to like figure something out. I go through like this whole thing where I'm like trying to process it. I tell my fiance about it. And as I'm telling him, you know, I like break down into tears. And I was like, honestly, I don't feel like I have asked for anything. I have not been a bridezilla. I have not been really specific with the things that I do want and I don't. And you know what I mean? I've just been excited to be able to plan a wedding. And we have had so much fun planning the little things that we're doing for our guests, you know, because it's so special and it's so exciting. And that's how it should be, honestly. Like, you shouldn't be having a big wedding to impress people. I couldn't care less about the colors of the napkins and the napkin rings and the types of chairs, and I couldn't care less about that. I want to be surrounded by the people that I love while I'm marrying the person that I'm in love with. That's the most important thing for me, that everybody's healthy and happy for us. Like, I don't know how you could ask for anything else, but the moment that I put on this dress, I've never felt this beautiful. And especially with the way that my body is now, I haven't felt that beautiful in a long time. To think that I was only going to be able to have it for like my ceremony and not have it for the party, and all the friends and family that I have here are not going to be able to see it, kind of like broke my heart. My fiance was extremely understanding. He was very upset as well. And he was telling me like, I deserve to have my moment, right? I deserve to have the one thing that I really want, because I haven't been crazy about anything else. As you guys can see through the video, some of the stuff is really last minute and I'm not getting it made by anybody else. I'm doing it myself because like, I really don't care about those things. I don't need them to be made and dipped in gold, and I don't know. I'd rather do it myself. I feel like it's more a personal touch and all that. So, and I won't sleep every single night to be able to do those things just to, you know, say that we had them. Oh, this is like the only thing I wanted, and then it just seems like it wasn't really going the way that I expected it, or the expectation that they put in my head is what I should say. I speak to him, I have like this whole like little breakdown, and he's like, you know what? You're gonna have your wedding dress for your wedding day. That's what's most important. It is called your wedding dress, not your after party dress. So I spoke to so many people about it and I got so many different perspectives. I told my counselor about it, you know, because mental health is very important. And this whole time I've been talking to her, like planning for the wedding, you know, she's always like, how are you? And I'm like, we were supposed to have our like couples session, and instead I had 2 individual sessions in the week because I needed it. Like, I really needed it. On Wednesday, I tell her what's going on and I'm like, look, I processed it. I went through it in my head and I'm finally, it's like I'm like grieving the dress, you know, I'm finally accepting it, but I'm still like, you know, hurt by it and sad and all this stuff. And I tell her all the details and she was like, honestly, somebody who's saying, I'm sure you'll figure it out, sounds like they've played this game before. It sounds like it's part of their game plan. It sounds like they wait until the last possible second and, hey, we didn't put it on your contract, so guess what? We can now raise the price if you want to buy it, and there's nothing you can do because you said yes to the dress. No other place is going to have a dress ready for you unless it's off the rack. You're not going to have time to get alterations, you know, from like a big bridal shop or something like that. It's like they're taking advantage of you. And I was like, you know, I didn't think of that. And that sounds really believable. I don't know what they have going on over there, but I didn't want to work with them at all. With the fact that the price rose, I was like, I don't even want to buy it at this point because I don't want to give you another penny. I don't want to give you any more business. But whatever, I spoke to my counselor. She helped me feel better. And then later on in the day, my mom called me. She starts asking me about my dress and all this stuff. And my mom had been offering to help me with the dress. So after all that, the video cuts off. I'm pretty sure it was a lot longer. So I have to redo the ending of the video, but I'm going to try to summarize it as easily as I can on my lunch break. I believe we left off when I told my mother. My mom had called me asking about my wedding dress, when am I gonna pick it up, all these things. And of course at this point, we're getting really close to my wedding date, so she's kind of concerned, excited, you know, just making sure, checking in, whatever. And there was a big part of me that really didn't want to tell her because as my mother, I'm sure that she was super excited to see me in that dress as well. And you know, I'm her only girl, so she wants me to have everything I want for my wedding. And she also saw how good I felt in that dress. So as I'm talking to her, I'm like contemplating in my head and I'm just like, you know what, like I have to be honest with her. So I just told her kind of in a way that I was like, you know, like kind of like it's no big deal, I already made up my mind and like I've accepted it. So I told her, yeah, I'm just gonna have to rent it. And she was like, is that what you want, you know? And I was like, well, like, you know, this whole thing happened. And she, of course, being her Latin spicy self, clearly she's where I get it from, was like, well, they told you this other price, like what's going on? So whatever, I told her everything. And while I'm talking to her, I really feel like just breaking down into tears, but I'm trying to hold back. I don't want her to know how like brokenhearted about it I was, because I know that she would offer everything she could to help. And you know, so would my dad. But like I said, I didn't want to give them one more penny. I didn't think that they deserved it after not being able to keep their word. But of course, she still offered, and I think she had me on speaker. So then my dad was like, what's the price? You know, and I was like, no, but it's not about that. You know, it's about the principle of the thing. And my dad was like, what's the price? What is the difference? So I told him the difference, and mind you, my dad also offered to put in like a specific amount of money towards our wedding, and we only took half of what he offered because we really did just want to do as much as we could ourselves. He was kind of like, okay, like even if, you know, your mom and I split this, like it's not going to be like a burden to us, and we would be more than happy to give this to you as a wedding gift, just to make sure that you have like everything that you want. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I really appreciate it, but like I don't know if this is what I want to do. There was a lot of mixed emotion. I didn't want my parents to feel like they had to like pitch in at any point, because well, we really wanted to, you know, do this ourselves. Most importantly, kind of have it as a treat to our guests. I don't know, we just didn't want anybody to think that it was a burden, and we didn't want to ask for anything. So I mean, I guess I didn't really ask for it. They offered, but I didn't know what to do. So later on that day, I went to the studio to teach dance, and I spoke to one of the studio owners about it. And again, I told him everything, and he was like, you know what, honestly, at our wedding, there were a lot of things that we got that we didn't think we'd be able to have. And he was like, what I learned was, when blessings come your way, sometimes you just have to accept them and you have to take them. And if this is really something that you wanted, you know, like, and this is a blessing that although you thought that you wouldn't be able to have it, like now it's possible to have it, like maybe you just have to, you know, take that blessing. And I feel like that made me think of it a different way as well. So I did a lot of soul searching and praying and all this stuff, and I realized that I was coming from a place of a lot of pride. You know, I was coming from a place of like, you did me wrong, you don't deserve this, all of that, and I don't want to give you any more business. But in reality, at the end of the day, it is about me, and I get to be selfish for once. You know, I get to say, well, you know what, regardless of how wrong somebody did me or anything negative that might come from this experience, I am not gonna let that ruin what I envisioned for my wedding or how I'm feeling on that day. So I decided to take my parents' offer to help me pay for the rest of it, and I did get to buy my dress. That kind of made me feel like, okay, it's over, like this is what it is, there's no going back. But there were honestly other like complications where they had told me that the headpiece and the veil were included in the price, but if I wanted to buy the veil and like the attachment that came on the sleeves that were kind of like wings, it would be an extra charge. And I was like, okay, but you said that it was included in the price originally. So they let me rent them. And I don't know if they like changed their like rules for that or whatever, but at this point I was just like, are you serious? Like, we just went back and forth for the price of just the dress on whether I was gonna rent or buy, and now you're changing like other things about it. So I can definitely say that was the most stressful part of my wedding experience. Everything else that I had to deal with was fine. Even some situations, last minute changes or things that were not gonna be able to happen on my wedding day, which you'll see coming up, were not as stressful as this. This took like an entire week pretty much for me to go through, talk about, you know, figure out, make a decision. And there was a part of me that was just trying not to be the type of customer that was so terrible that they're like, you know what, we don't want to do business with you, because then I would be ruining my chance of having my wedding dress. And in all honesty, the boutique that I went to, they had beautiful dresses. I found exactly what I was looking for, but the reality is I shouldn't have just trusted their kind of like carefreeness of like, we'll take care of you, but actually we're writing this down on a contract. I should have been a lot more careful to make sure I knew what was going into the writing, instead of them telling me like, you're just signing this to put this on hold. I should have read everything, but with the excitement of everything and the fact that I've never done this before, a lot of things slip through the cracks. And my advice to other brides would be, learn from my mistakes. Know that you're gonna be excited in the moment. Just make sure that either you take somebody with you that is going to ground you, or maybe just make sure that after the celebrating of she said yes to the dress, you know, you have a moment of like, okay, so let's see how all of this works, let's talk about it. But don't believe any of that, oh, don't worry about it, like all that nonsense that's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, we'll take care of you, we'll help you out. No, that doesn't like hold up in a contract. And know that a lot of people do not hold their word because they're not legally bound to it if you don't have any proof. At the end of this, I have to believe that everything happens for a reason. And although I am glad I had the pictures of my wedding dress and all of that, there were other complications that happened for the wedding. So the next video is going to be a really short one that just tells you about my wedding dress and how it was on the day of my wedding and things that resulted from it. Spoiler alert, once again, it won't really be the most positive review. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you're here to stay. Click that subscribe button so you know when I'm posting new videos. These are all old videos that I'm coming up with, but I'm also throwing in some new videos of stuff that I'm currently doing. Just sprinkling that in there so that you guys have some more content. Down in the comments, tell me what was the worst part of your wedding experience. What is the worst thing you had to deal with? What stressed you out the most? What made you cry? But then I also want you to tell me what the best part of it was. I think I have too many good memories to just pick one. So even though the whole dress thing was overall the worst part for me, I have so many more good memories and great experiences that just kind of make that one seem insignificant. All right, I think that's all. Bye.